Wow. Yeah, this is Academy of Tone episode 102.
102.
Oh,
welcome along.
God. Yeah, welcome. Did we do something wrong at the beginning? I felt like, where's the one?
We seem to be slightly out of time. It was the cowbell. It put us off.
Of
too
course.
much cowbell.
Yeah.
Can there ever be too much cowbell? I don't know. But
Ding, ding. Yeah, it's the monitor. It's always blame it on the monitor.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you could see that we kind of found the time at the end of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, we chose that song because it's from 2002.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't believe when we were looking for songs from '02.
Yeah.
Because that song feels so fresh for me.
Yeah, well, it feels fresh. It's like yesterday, but I mean, yesterday for us is yesterday. Yeah, something like that.
You get a copyright strike for that.
Oh fuck! Yeah, another mistake.
Yeah.
I was okay for the guys who want to know tones. The tone I was using for our famous tone finder is, of course, the Amp1 Mercury edition, as you can see. And at the end, I had the echo for the solo, but at the beginning, I had only the Amp1 and the built-in reverb. That was it. Let me get my mobile phone out of the way so the picture is cleaner. Why mute? So, and what are the settings? Well, bass is on 3. It's pretty thin. Middle is on 5, and treble is on 3 to 4. And the custom control is in the middle, clean, and I'm using the boost all the way up. That's all. And clean volume is on 7.5. That famous sweet spot for clean tones, I would say. Yeah, nothing special. Basically, all you need to do is play Amp1 clean. And by the way, I was using the black 2x12, which is like a Fender Twin Reverb cabinet. That one behind me. Just a Fender clean tone, that's all. It's kind of a driven one, you know, that's why I use the boosts and yeah, and the reverb, that was it. And for the solo, which was not authentic because in the original recording Mr. Fulcianti used a fuzz and I was simply on the modern channel. Like yeah, modern with boost. And where were I didn't even care where the tone was set. Where was it? Almost closed. Yeah, almost closed. Maybe 9 o'clock, but didn't matter because it's if you try to imitate a fuzz, which I actually didn't do, I just use an overdrive because this was the proof that you can play that song with just an amp one.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Within the context of the song, it worked just fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
just fine.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when I played a few notes, I had my delay, and that was it. Okay, these were the sound settings. Today's episode, we have a few things in mind to do. One is mini pedals, but maybe before we talk about mini pedals, I was looking at the calendar, for two reasons. One is, what songs are we playing?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, what birthdays is coming up? And when I look at this birthday calendar, we had Pat Travers yesterday, Vince Gill yesterday, and then nobody today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why
Does anybody watching have a birthday today?
Yeah.
If so, let us know, and Thomas will put it in his calendar.
Yeah. And no birthday of famous guitarists unless you are famous and you are on the live stream. But tomorrow is a big birthday of somebody who is very important in the blues business, or was Muddy Waters. And guess who else? Ritchie Blackmore. Ritchie Blackmore. And Muddy Waters have birthday on the same day.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And tomorrow is also Thai New Year. I found out when I was eating Thai this afternoon.
All right.
It's like, there's something in the stars tomorrow. So that suits Ritchie Blackmore and Muddy Waters, maybe.
What's the date tomorrow? The
14th.
14th of April.
Yeah.
Special day then.
Yeah. And there's another one. Vinnie Moore is also tomorrow's birthday. It's weird. Today is nobody, and tomorrow's like just three well-known guitar players.
Yeah.
And then 18 is 15 is Roy Clark. Nobody knows Roy Clark these days. I looked it up at YouTube, and this is the guy who plays this funny with all the killer licks, kind of rock and roll American band, killer licks, clean jazz guitar. Anyway, it's fun to check this out. It's worth. Roy Clark on the 15th, which is in 2 days. And then on the 18th is Mark Tremonti. And on the 23rd, Albert King. Another great. And then on the 27th, Ace Frehley from Kiss. What a mixture.
What a month.
Yeah, what a month. Hey, but when you look at this calendar, there are months where it's even more scary. It's like, I think June is like Jeff Beck and them all have birthday on the same day. Weird.
That is weird. I mean, you have a 1 in 365 chance, right?
Yeah, but it's this was the weird journey through the birthday calendar for me.
Yeah. So are you celebrating somebody's birthday? Richie Blackmore's tomorrow, for example.
Maybe if
sending him a cake.
Well, I'm not a good baker. I'm not a good cake maker, so I would rather go to my local bakery.
We should start sending the cake ones to people, like I made. Yeah.
Yeah, when you joined the company, you had this nice round. And you did bring an X.
I did, the Cake X.
Did we ever see this in public?
I don't think so, because...
We ate it.
Yeah, we ate it. We took a picture of it with you, I think.
Yeah.
The Cake X hasn't been released yet because the Amp X hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
I thought it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, that's true. So the picture must be on my phone somewhere. Let me see if I find that just for the fun.
Yeah. In the meantime, Johnny says he received his 100th show competition T-shirts because he won the Guess the Number with 66 he might have picked.
Yeah,
maybe 22, I can't remember.
Yeah, he was the lucky guy who had 2 numbers.
Yeah, he won 2, but he says thanks to all at BluGuitar and thanks for the signed photo, Thomas.
Oh, yes, please.
Which he's probably going to put on eBay tomorrow.
And get rich. When was the cake? Do you remember? Was it January?
It was when we all were together for A team meeting.
Yeah, we have team meetings, and this is what we are getting spoiled by Rich with homemade cakes. Okay, wait a minute. Where are we?
Good question from David Matai. He says, Thomas, I'm about to rebuild my Amp1 board. I want to use the clean channel and the rest with pedals. Does the clean channel take pedals well?
Of course.
And of course, we're going to answer that question 100 times over in this episode, so you're in the right place.
Yeah. So, guys, I found the Cake X. Where's the camera? Which one? Is it the I don't know. So it's just we actually do have Cake X, and we have, see this? This is the Cake X with the Lötkolben. Soldering iron Cake X. Anyway, so no joke, but it's gone. It was delicious.
Oh, and that's interesting. Pooh Ninja says the original Red Hot Chili Peppers guitar player was born today in 1962 or 63. Hillel Slovak, who passed away. Yeah.
Okay, so we did at least something right.
Yeah.
Additionally, to pick out Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah,
song
without even knowing. Yeah.
See, thanks internet, thanks Pooh Ninja, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Red Hot Chili Peppers I like the band, but it's weird how many drug issues they have. It's like
They have had a bunch of people who have done the drug thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone has not read Anthony Kiedis' biography, read it. What a guy. I mean, he's like a generation later than Keith Richards in a way.
But it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what it is, why people want to escape the reality. Of course, I understand why we want to escape reality by making music and stuff. But for me, drugs were never that tempting. I mean, I tried stuff and then I thought, okay, but I rather enjoy a clear mind.
Yeah.
I think the best thing is mineral water with lemon. Besides last week, we had some delicious red wine with Alex Byroth, which was actually a lot better than I expected. And it was fun drinking it. And I was actually a bit drunk at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
But was the world of tic-tac-toe really as rock and roll as something like the Chili Peppers or Guns N' Roses or the Rolling Stones or whatever?
No, because our audience was too young. And I'm not into that. And I was too old for our female fans. We had hundreds and thousands of them. And actually they asked me stuff like, you want to go to my room? And, a 14-year-old, I would never... It's bullshit, It's like you could be my daughter or something. Even at that time, I was younger, but I'm not into that. I like to have fun. I did my parties as well, and I tried out the limits. I've been there with drinking red wine till I had to vomit, which was a good thing in the UK because the next day I was the only guy that vomited, and all the rest of the boys were so hangover still, and I was fresh and clean, I didn't tell them. Now they know. but it's like, hey guys, what's wrong with you? And they thought, man, this German, he can take everything. Well, I could take, but when I was driving back to the hotel in London with the bumpers, to bring the speed down from the taxi, it was doom, 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 and on. So I made it to the room. I could hold it to the moment till I saw the toilet and whoop. Brilliant job. Get some fresh water from the fridge. Had a good nap, good sleep, and in the morning I was back on the block, and the rest was like, oh.
German efficiency.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Anyway, this was the stories.
Yeah, a couple of questions already about the Amp-X. William Lee says, will there be any demo videos for the Amp-X, sound software demo controls, etc.? And Ty says, can you talk briefly about the new remote that's been coming out to control the Amp-X and also Amp1? So
yeah, okay. One thing after the other. First, Amp-X. Well, we have a limited capacity for our R&D, which is the reason why we cannot release too many products at once. So in order, we will release Amp X first, the 3rd of June at NAMM. That's the release day where we ship. Then we will have a few beta testers, and then we might ship at the end of the year. That's my plan. But you know, there's lots of obstacles these days. But I'm positive because we are getting there, and it's also good to have, you know, like a date in mind to that's the release date, and then we do that and blah blah blah. So it will actually happen, and of course, AmpX is the ever-growing system that is the analog hardware digitally controlled, and this kind of platform is capable of doing anything that I can imagine, which keeps me busy for the next 10 years as being our flagship. And then when we release it, there will be just the fundamental stuff, and then year by year we release more, you know, amp models and effects models and whatnot. We can do anything on that. So that's the first thing. When this is finished, we will look at the Remote X. And I have a few ideas of that, but I would use the same mechanical concept for sure, because I designed the Amp X in a way that this can actually be attached to the Amp X. So you can have like too many foot switches. It's my modular system thoughts. But about details, I have a few ideas. Basically, it will do what this will do and more. But if I talk about what else, I shouldn't, because then maybe I will talk about ideas that we cannot realize. Mm-hmm. So mechanically, it will come in that same. It will be made from the same tooling, and it will be attachable to Amp X. It can be, you know, like standalone, like now. It will be compatible with Amp 1 and Amp X. And that's all down to software. And I have a few things that could be extra again, but let's see how we get there. This is something for next year, guys.
Yeah. But in answer to the other question, there will be videos aplenty come June.
Yes. I mean, we not release anything before we are in America for a lot of reasons. And then, you know, we do our little NAMM show event. We are happy with the booth. For those who want to know, mobile phone. I can give
Is
you...
anybody watching going to the NAMM show? Let us know in the comments if you are.
Because we are at booth 5433. 5433.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least I picked that up somewhere.
Okay.
If it hasn't changed?
Yeah, it might have changed. I'm not sure. When did you receive that email?
I wrote that email today.
Okay,
and
well, hopefully it's right.
No, I think I picked it up from my website, and I wrote it on my website not longer than a week ago. When was the last change?
About a week ago.
Ah, okay. Well, anyway, we are super central. We are lucky because we are in the middle of Hall
D.
So, and we have a very nice spot, and we're happy about that.
Yep.
And we know a lot of companies are not exhibiting, but we are. And there will be lots of other people from other companies without booths, but they will be there. So we have already a few nice arrangements and meetings, and that's the NAMM thing. Yeah, and then we will start to produce videos, and more videos. And we might see some YouTubers that will have their go on videos as well.
Yeah. plenty of press at the NAMM show as well.
Yeah, I mean, the usual guys.
Yeah, exactly. Poo Ninja says, how do you get into the beta testing group for the Ampex?
If you are interested, well, there's a few things. I know you are from, was it Sweden or some Nordic country? The criterias for me is you have to be somebody that understands the product a lot by having experience with complex systems. Let's say Kemper, let's say Line 6 Helix, or any of these. So if you're just the old school amp guy, you're the wrong person to be a beta tester, because what I want is to have people that have the understanding of that and then know, okay, Thomas has done it that way, I know it from this other product, whatever, and I like it, or maybe he could change something like that. That's my beta tester. That's something of value. If I get criticized by people with a good background knowledge. If you feel like you are the right guy, send us an email on the YouTube here at BluGuitar.com. I already have a few people in mind to do that. And of course there are more local, like here in Germany, so it's shorter distance. But if somebody out there is like, I'm the expert because I designed the Helix myself and I quit, and now I work for whatever Neural Disc P and they throw me out. I'm happy, to look for that. I'm interested in that product. Send us the email. We are talking. That level would be super helpful. And there's a few things, when it comes to sound, I'm not even worried because it's a platform and I tested the platform. I did a little tweet experiment with my 57 Tweet Deluxe to be on that kind of old school rough edge. Worked fantastic, and then did some metal thing and something in between, and I can get anywhere. And it's like, we don't talk about feel anymore because it feels like these things. It is these things. For me, it's more, the beta test is more about the software that operates the AmpX, and if the menu or if the connections, or maybe we can do a shortcut, things like that, so practical things. But tone, no worries. I already know anything. That's so scary. It's actually anything. It's unbelievable, even for myself. I plug in and think, it can't be true. It actually works. It works. And the next preset, and it's like a time warp from 57 to 2000, whatever, to 22. Unbelievable. And it's, even the switching doesn't take time because it's analog. It's just switching parameters. It's not like I have to create scenes of a Helix and wait for the switching. Instant. Anyway, did we have another question?
Yes, one last question from Hardy. Does the cab with the neodymium magnets have a release date? Is that going to come next year, maybe?
I'm still in the process. I'm pretty happy. I'm thinking about a few things, and it takes another round of beta testing with some friends of mine, because I always test it myself, but I always give it into other people's hands to see, how they feel about it, and that round is still ongoing. But there's next year for sure, maybe even at NAMM. We'll see. The eagle is about to land. It's very, very I've been working on this cabinet for already 2 years. It's so I tested a lot of things, but there's another speaker sample coming, and if that sees the other prototype of the manufactured housing, then I have to double check if the match is as good as my prototype, which is made here in Germany from my good Markus friend, who is Mr. Prototype, cabinet prototype. That's his passion. Yeah. Any other? Meerbusch. Hi for Meerbusch. That's Meerbusch. I think it's Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But hi, back to Meerbusch.
Yeah.
There was a good question leading us directly into our pedal topic, but it seems to have disappeared. It was about using a loop switcher with pedal boards. And you do have one. I've seen it in the back. It's a gig rig Quartermaster.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that as we go into the pedal board stuff?
Loop pedal switcher or loop switcher or whatever you call it. If you have more, I would say, than 3 pedals, and depending on what you are doing with the pedals, that's something to consider. I mean, there's 2 aspects of a pedal switcher or a looper. Or what's actually the word for it? Pedal loop. I mean, it's a pedal switcher that has loops.
Yeah, you hear different terms. I think loop switcher is the standard one.
Yeah. So these things have 2 advantages. They do true bypass, hardwired true bypass. So in, out, and whatever is not being used is out of the signal path. So you get a super clean signal. Next is some of those, they can be programmed that if you want, you press 1 and it will automatically switch off the other pedals, or you can have some way like what is it? Gig rig. Quartermaster. Okay. Yeah. Daniel Steinhardt is the guy from the company, from that pedal show again. Yep. Okay. And with that you can have a little switch, and then you can decide if it's kind of, if I have this pedal, it automatically switches off the next one, or if you have the options of using both. So there's like 2 modes which you can assign to the loops, which are being used for the pedals. So it gives you ways how to deal with the pedals, and that's kind of very handy if you have, for instance, a scenario of a compressor and a chorus. Where's the chorus? I think that's the chorus. So, and that is part of your clean tone, and then you want to switch to overdrive, and you have to get both out, because nobody wants the extra compressor for overdrive in front of the amp and the chorus. So this is the moment where it's great to have a pedal switcher. But building a pedal board is such an individual thing, and so there is not the only solution. And that's why I try to make, AMP1 as a system flexible, give you options. So we have the remote one, we have the looper kit that offers 4 pedals to be switched. Sometimes I have one here, sometimes not. Is it here? Nope. Next room. Here it is. So this used to be on my pedal board. I have a pedal board where this is on, and I switch this together with my channels. So for instance, my compressor is not being used when I'm going to overdrive. So that can be used to program, and that's the idea of the remote one and the looper kit. So clean signal, and I would say kind of a programmability, and that depends on the loop switcher. There's anything from like a few loops up to massive, too many. But yeah, it depends on what you want to do.
Yep.
And some of them, like the gig rig, thinking about them, they have features like a buffer built in, individual gain for each pedal, and then you can decide if you use that feature or if you leave it out. And so you can work around stuff that you don't like with pedals. For instance, this pedal here is my beloved small stone phaser, and there is a volume drop when you engage the phaser. I personally like it. It's not a problem, but most people hate it. And with this new gig rig, don't ask me, or the old one even had a gain makeup function. So you add another 2 dB, and then you can make this kind of same volume, just have the effect coming in. For me, it's even okay with that little volume drop.
Yeah.
I play slightly differently, and it makes my sound cleaner, because my clean sound is already kind of on the edge of breaking up. And when I use the phaser, it kind of has this much less gain, and so my guitar gets cleaner and has a phaser on top of it. Works. And when I use it with my vintage channel, it's a nice Hendrixy style sound. Yeah, just as a...
That's also, I notice, a pretty big, cumbersome pedal, by the way.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was a smaller variant.
Of small stone there are. Yeah, this is the original 70s. Don't ask me which series and logo this is. Yeah.
Yes, this is as close as we're going to get
That's
today, huh?
Today, that's X-Vive pedals. I have a bunch of those here, but that's an ElectroHarmonix. They make smaller ones these days as well.
They do, yeah, but there is kind of a sort of a nostalgic feel, and with the big muffs as well, they still like to make the big box ones, even though, of course, they don't need to.
Some of them...
It's part of the charm, isn't it?
Yeah. So now we're getting into the mini pedal thing.
That's what I've been trying to lead you onto for the past 10 minutes, yeah. But we get there.
Yeah, okay, eventually. Some of the mini pedals, they are actually 100% as the originals.
Yeah.
So size is not the issue of sound.
Yeah.
The point is, if they do a redesign to shrink the pedal, the designer has to be aware that what is happening inside on a smaller PCB with probably smaller and different components. You know, in the old days they had big capacitors and big resistors and a layout that had sometimes even weird or funky side effects. That was maybe part of the effect. And then somebody like a young clean engineer takes the same schematic, puts in the same values, and has theoretically, technically done everything right. But sometimes these pedals don't have the magic anymore. That can happen. So, on the other hand, there are pedals that are so close to the original, and you have the big size or you have the small size. And then even I don't hear a difference. Well, let's try. I nick the sucker. Let's try.
There you go. Mia Busch is near Düsseldorf,
Yeah.
Krefeld.
Didn't I tell?
Mönchengladbach, yeah. You said it was there somewhere.
Yeah, Düsseldorf. I was close.
Follow-up question on buffers from David as well. Very interesting. How important is a buffer on effects boards? Do you really need it? I guess it's again a similar question of how many pedals you've got and how you want to maintain your original signal.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that pedals have either a true bypass, which means a mechanical switch that has, like, in the best case, 2 wires from input to output, so it actually disconnects the input from the pedal, so it's true bypass. It's kind of your cable goes in here, there's a switch, and this is hardwired to the output, or it's going through that circuitry. That's one way. And the other way, which is on the Tube Screamer, there is a buffer built in. And to make it easy, my theory would be have one pedal that you use that has a buffer, and the rest try to avoid buffers then. Once you have one good buffer, you don't need any more of these. Some of the buffers used in pedals sound different or better than others. So a buffer is to change the impedance of the signal from high impedance to low impedance, which makes it less delicate to work with the signal, less fragile. But anything you put in between, you know, cables make it different, everything makes it different. Buffers can have a slight color to it. So if you have a buffer that you like the color of, use it. That's always, thank you. I'm getting even more, because me and my Strat likes things between the guitar and the amp. I can play puristic as well, no problem. But if it's the right extra tone that has, you know, balance out my pickups in the way that I like it, it's a plus. So there's nothing wrong about buffers.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you have no buffer at all, cable length and cable capacity actually really matters. So if you have a long cable coming in from the guitar to the first input with a buffer, you hear that cable. The next cable from the output to the amp after the buffer, forget it. It's 1% versus 100%. A huge difference. So the second cable after, or the cable after the buffer, is way, way, way less important in the quality. But the first cable from your passive pickups to the first input stage on a pedal or whatever it is, that's where the whole system of the pickups create the tone. So it also depends on your first pedal, or on the pedal that you're using, how your guitar sounds. Some pedals don't sound right with certain guitars because the impedance is very high or it's not so high, and then do you like that, and does it kill, or is it part of that tone for that pedal, and then you switch it off? Unfortunately it's a bit complex.
Yeah.
Just buffers are a good thing especially when you listen to the sound, it's like dull, get a buffer, or get a pedal that has a buffer. And this buffer is on even on bypass.
Yeah.
So the good old Tube Screamer actually is a nice pedal, because you plug in there, you have the other, and you have more pedals, whatever, and it simply works. So some practical engineer from Japan solved some problems decades ago.
Yeah, exactly. There's the same thing with the vast majority of Boss pedals as well, right?
Yeah.
They have a built-in buffer which is on all the time.
You know what? Let's start with the Tube Screamer thing, because you brought a mini Tube Screamer.
I did.
So now I got.
Here it is. It's cute, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm getting 100% puristic here. I make a little bit room. I get some patch cables.
How do you set your Tube Screamer, Thomas? Because I'm interested to hear what you do with it compared to how I have mine set.
Usually I have like not much overdrive. I just have level, and the tone on the strat is kind of more down or in the middle. Yeah.
Similar to mine, really. Volume up, drive all the way down.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so anyway, I will try to have the output into the amp1.
Yeah, Poo Ninja says fuzz pedals don't like buffers. That's another thing to consider, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the impedance thing again. Wait a minute.
So I guess the question we want to answer here is, how does the mini Tube Screamer compare to the full-size counterpart?
Yeah.
And what do you think it's going to be before you plug in? What are your expectations?
Well, if somebody has done a decent job, the difference shouldn't be dramatic. But we all know the Tube Screamer, the holy grail of the pedals, and only the original A board from 1980 blah 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 is the one that you should play.
BB King Lucille says, does the Hughes and Kettner tube factor have a buffer in it?
Yes, it does. And the Hughes and Kettner Replex has a buffer, and the Hughes and Kettner Rotosphere, the Leslie, has a buffer. And now, is my opinion, the one on the Replex is the best buffer in my collection. And the one on the Replex is not as good. It's my personal opinion, even though I was helping to design it. And therefore, because the Replex was first and the last pedal out of that series was the Replex. And therefore I thought, we can improve. Replex is the best buffer. And the tube factor buffer is, I think, something okayish. Okay, we need power for this one, because the mini pedal has no, oh wow.
Yeah, of course, mini pedals, they don't fit batteries in, so you always need pedal power.
Okay, bypass. Okay, being on the Fender side now, let's do the Tube Screamer on the Fender side. Okay, so what happens if I plug in to my original serial number is 170087. If somebody is one of those nerds, you will know which year it is. Somebody told me it's a good one. And yeah. Bypass. Okay, let's make a setting that is easy to compare. 0 overdrive, tone in the middle, level, I try to match maybe all the way up. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Level all the way up, tone in the middle. So, and now we have... Wait a minute, let me try this, if I can. that this sounds a bit warmer, a bit thicker.
A bit fuller, isn't it? A bit more low end almost.
Yeah.
Mr. Blue says, hold on. You want to compare two Tube Screamers, but the first Tube Screamer, the original, will buffer the next Screamer, he thinks.
Yeah.
It's not a fair comparison.
You know what? We change order. Are they both buffered? Let's do a simple test. We just change order and see. Sorry, guys, that's... no, I'm not changing anything here as settings because otherwise we lose all the reference.
Hardy says, will the Amp-X have a buffer built in?
Well, the good thing about Amp-X is once the signal is there, it is buffered, and then all the pedals are inside the Amp-X. And then don't worry about cables, don't worry about all that shit. The only thing you have to know, you can't change the order because it's analog. But hey, back to the Tube Screamer. I'm curious to know. Now I changed the order. There's a certain tendency, I'm very sure, it has not changed. Two things. One is the mini one has a slightly more high end, and now I can get rid of the second one. But you know, I wanted to do the faster AB thing. We could use the looper as well, but now I've done it like this. So I think the mini one is more open. Let's compare. Listen again, the mini one. There's a little bit more high end. And I already have increased the tone on the old one, on the big one, to be more open. Okay? Has more mids, which I kind of like more at this point. In my opinion is, of course I hear difference, yes. And it's a different Tube Screamer, yes. As I'm not a 100% Tube Screamer fanatic, I think the mini one does the job for me. I can... okay, some people will be disappointed because I know they love the Tube Screamer so much and they know they have to have the original one and they paid 1,400 euros for it. I changed the tone on the mini one a little bit. And guess what? I think we are getting a lot closer. Can you hear the same thing like I do? Or is this all too esoteric for you guys out there? For me, I can hear I'm getting closer. And so what's the point here? If I would have to choose a Tube Screamer, the mini one would be good enough for me.
Yep.
That's my personal decision.
Yep.
And as we can see, the settings are not the same to be close. And now we are close. And now the old one. More compression, yeah, but what is better? In that case, we can go all the way and watch that video that I have done about comparing vintage tube screamers. I mean, we are talking about these, the TS-808s and the really expensive ones. And again, maybe check that out if it's that important. Watch that video, it will take a few minutes, but these are the most sought after tube screamer in the whole universe. And I had, I don't know, 8 or 6 or 4, and I took from the same year, from the same PCB and blah, blah, blah. AB nerd thing. Watch the video and then we talk again.
Yes.
Okay.
But we all know that the answer, which tube screamer is better, the answer is the one which is on John Mayer's pedalboard.
I'm definitely with you, yes.
The video is also moot in that regard. But yeah, so tube screamer.
And in the end, then he will come out and has one of those cheap Thomann for 25 euros. You know,
the Harley Benton vintage overdrive.
Yeah, I bought one of those and they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and in the next minutes you will see the holy grail of tube screamers for 1,400 and more euros.
Yep.
See you in a minute. Welcome to the world of vintage guitars. We actually heard 4 different Ibanez Tube Screamers. We had the magic 1980, TS-808 in 2 versions. We had a TS-9 and a TS-10, all at my feet. And the question is, if we're all trapped by confirmation bias, are we repeating the stuff that we hear and believe it, or can we still be neutral and have our own opinion? Well, let's find out. I will try to play as equally as possible and do my thing. Let's start with the real deal 1980 GRC chip-equipped Holy Grail Tube Screamer. Same year, same product, same chip, same board. And now a TS-9. And back to the 1980. Is it different? Is it better? Is it worse? Well, you have to decide for yourself. And now I go for the TS10. I think this one has a touch too much gain, and there's the difference. Let's check. Hey, to be honest, I think this much is the difference. And my personal opinion is maybe the TS10 has the least of that in it. And I like it. So there we go. Tube screamers. It's a delicate topic. I think the family of tube screamers all do the same thing. Does it really need to be the original old one? And it's the price difference is about 1,000, whatever, euros, bucks, or you name it. For me, actually, it's not that important. Maybe it is for you. So I hope this could bring a little bit of light into that hot topic of the tube screamers. Enjoy. And Stevie Wonder was using two. Yeah, well, this was my esoteric A-B comparison at number one, the world of vintage guitars. I'm very privileged to be working with them because they have the, they are a store that handle the most expensive vintage guitars, Les Pauls from hundreds of thousands and Stratocaster from every year. So, and as you could see, Tube Screamer from every year. Anyway, this was just to show you how things can be. And in the case of the Tube Screamer, my personal opinion is, yes, there are differences, but I'm not so nerdy in that respect, so I can live with almost anything in that direction. Okay. Another thing that I would like to A/B, because I have both units here, is the diamond yellow comp. Here, this compressor. This is Tube Screamer 1 and Tube Screamer 2.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the diamond. And there we have the mini one. Okay, this is out. And they're actually both from my pedalboard. And I just took the mini one off my pedalboard. For years I had the big one on my pedalboard, and then after a while I wanted a bit more room on my pedalboard, so I was looking for a smaller footprint one, which is the Smoor. And there's a Fender one that is green, and it's exactly the same. It's all manufactured in China by the same company, and they simply sold it to different companies and kind of branded. No sound, okay, because I was nice to your ears. We have no. I need one more power here. Let me see if this is doing it. Okay, nice. Okay, let's put everything in the middle and see what that sounds like.
So are these buffered as well, these compressors, seeing as you had no signal when it wasn't powered?
Well, this had no signal, so this must be buffered.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, this is buffered. And this one, let's see. It's also.
Yeah.
So for my test that I've done 2 or 3 years ago when I bought this small one, the yellow comp, I thought, you know what, I don't need the big one anymore. Hey, but be fair, I'm fresh and clean and... Okay, to me, the big one sounds a bit more open. Okay, that's maybe because of the tolerance again, because potentiometers usually have a tolerance of 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can try to match the tone. I mean, this is a little, such a little knob here. That treble. In the end, yes, I do hear a tiny little difference, but is it actually better in this case?
It's definitely close enough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's... I try the maximum compression now. It's probably more the effect of the buffer into buffered effect. So again, to me, good enough. So what is that message? There might be exceptions where I wouldn't like to play a mini pedal because the mini pedal simply sucks because somebody didn't do a good job. But if you do a good job, like on a lot of them, mini pedals are just good. For instance, I have now, do we want to do the Nobels?
Yeah, let's do the Nobels.
Just the Nobels for fun, because they are two different pedals, we have to know. This is the ODR-1.
Yep. Well, the ODR-Mini, which is a take on the ODR-1.
And this one is the S. Which has
Overdrive Special. Yeah.
Overdrive Special has more gain, but anyway, let's listen to that Nobels. We need power. It's always the same thing. You know what? Velcro. Velcro sucks. Here, have this. I need to get this back on my pedalboard because on next gig I open my pedalboard and it's like, oops, empty space. No, so ODR-1, beep, or Nobels ODR-Mini, and here we go. I know why people like it. It's a good sound. But here you can hear what I love is if I use that overdrive, then use the level to overdrive my clean channel as well. And then when you come to the point where the clipping of the pedal is at the same level as the clipping of the amp1 input, this is where the magic happens. This is, yeah. Because you get extra overtones from the amp itself. And therefore I'm a big fan of cascading gain, just in tiny little nuances. That's my thing. I want one. I know the guys. I call them. Sandy, if you see that, you know my address. Lost my pick. So, yeah, it's that good. Okay, just for fun, we listen to the Overdrive S, but this has more gain, I noticed, because I compared the pedals in the past. This has a battery, and I think this is the classic pedal. It's And I bought the Overdrive S because it's kind of the survivor Marshall if you have to play any amp. And then it has a 3-band tone stack and a bit more gain. So that's the thing about this pedal.
Yeah.
But talking about mini pedals, I want to show you a mini pedal, which is the tiniest of them all. It's the Hot Tone Blues Driver. It's even smaller than this footprint. It's like, how small can you get, you know? So, and this is a pretty good clone of the Boss, what's it called? The Blues
Driver, yeah.
Yeah, BD2 or whatever.
Yep.
And this needs power on this side. And I'm actually changing pedal boards now because I want to move on to a pedal board build here. Where's the signal gun? We go into here and we go into... Can you give me...
We have to come out the iridium, don't we?
Yeah,
Yep.
So... Yep. Thank you. And plug this in 16. Yeah, you're good. So. This is which? That's the amp 1. Yeah, this is the amp 1 as it is by itself. Sounds even great without any pedals. Like. Okay.
Just as a question then, we're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so pedals into it. Do you reckon there's much difference to your tone going through these 8 pedals than there would be if you were to go straight into the amp?
Let's compare. I mean, I'm not actually using all of them now. I'm using the Blues Driver into the Echo Man.
Oh, okay, they're all wide up, okay.
And that's about it. But yeah. Sorry, I was cheating. Unconscious. Well, this was... the Blues Driver was engaged. I thought the amp 1 sounded good. Well, this is the amp 1 without anything now. By
the way, can I just go off topic a second and ask a question about amp 1 that's come up in the chat? It comes from Goober, who says, I kind of wish the clean channel on the amp 1 didn't get crackly so early. I like the edge of drive sound, but I don't dig the amount of crackle.
Well, first thing is, reduce the boost. The boost can be adjusted from being clean or not clean. No boost means it must be clean. So this is what we get at 10, which kind of is overdriving. But at 7 with my single coil Strat, there's no... To me, that's pristine clean. So, in case you use the volume like on 10, of course there's a breakup, which sounds like this. I adjust the volume here. This is what I wanted. I wanted that hot overdriven Fender-esque amp saturation. If I go back to 7 again and use the boost, I have more sparkle, and I have maybe, if it's all the way up like now, get a similar effect, but a bit more sparkle. I mean, now maybe something breaks up, but this, I don't hear the noises that you don't like. Probably check your gain settings. I mean, amp 1 breaks up and it depends on pickups, how much output you put into the amp 1. Okay, back to the blues driver. I reduced the volume here and now I put in the blue. Sounds great to me.
Yep.
Such a small pedal.
Very small. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, here is another pedal, which is the Echo Man. Echo Man is a bucket bridge delay. Has a modulation, which means it can simulate a little bit of that chorus vibrato or tape echo kind of thing. This is what I like it. It's basically using the same chip like the...
Is it the ElectroHarmonix Memory Man?
Memory Man.
Or Deluxe Memory Man,
yeah. I have that original there, and I also was involved helping my friends to make this right. It's not 100% like I wanted it, but it's pretty good for what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, also think about it from a practicality perspective, because those original ElectroHarmonix pedals are gigantic. They have a weird voltage as well, so you can't just plug them into standard power. They're noisy, and this is tiny. And what is it? 95% there tonally.
Yeah. And it's good enough to put it on a pedal board.
Yeah.
And you can do all this. It does this. Okay. The other pedal that I have on my board, which is now in the effects loop, is a V5, same company. So this is our Bible. Kind of analog delay. That's the sound. It has no modulation. It just has a nice, warm echo sound. It's a bit dull, but I like it as an always on delay kind of in my effects loop. And here is what I have done for the guys. A question that we have a lot is like, how do I get a second master volume? Well, you have such a minus booster, which is a passive volume control potentiometer in combination with the echo in the effects loop. And then what I can have... There's my rhythm volume. So if you look at the cables, these go very simple from the effects loop, send to return. So I put those two in line and I have my delay in the effects loop and I have like my second master volume in the effects loop. You could also add whatever, a chorus in the effects loop or a tremolo or whatnot. So there's options.
Yeah.
And this is my double foot switch, which works for switching the amp 1.
Mm-hmm. So how do you have that set exactly?
Well, the first one goes from clean to overdrive, and the second one goes boost on off.
Yeah.
It's just like having another pedal. And now I'm in standard mode, but most of the time, if I use this pedalboard myself, I put that in the preset mode. So I would have vintage, classic, modern, clean, and boost. And then for me, it's more like I put the boost on everything and then I can switch it off. Other people like it the other way around. They have like everything without a boost and then they can switch it on if they need it. So that's actually a foot switch that I made myself back a few years back. But on the other hand, here, just to show you again, our dear friends at Laney, they offer this as a product that you can actually buy. And it has like a TRS jack and cable, so you can make the cable as long as you want or short as you like. And in case you want to have some extra LED, you can use that, but this actually works with our amp having without external power and using the LEDs at the same time. So it's the mini pedal thing, see? Can we see this LED switching? So cool. That's this. And just while we're talking about things that can switch, this is a mini switch. MIDI out. So this thing can be programmed with your where is my cable? Which in the back of the there's a MIDI 1 adapter? No? Okay.
No.
Is it outside of the in the pocket? Anyway, in the meantime I can explain this. This has a mini USB connector, and I think it's disaster area. Ah yeah, here, see, there's disaster area is the company that has these nice little tiny switches. And with this kind of nice switch, you could have whatever, either that kind of second master volume or a second gain at hand, or the power soak function. Yeah, and see, there must be one more. Sorry, and this, yeah, exactly. I see it. MIDI 1. That's the one.
Yeah,
so,
got it.
So this is what I wanted to show. This is a MIDI switcher. Okay, tiny as can be, but we need a MIDI adapter cable. So the first incarnation of our MIDI 1 adapter was a box big like that with a cable on the other side with a PCB inside and the components. The next incarnation was this fellow here, which has the electronics inside that tube. And this is MIDI 1 old school, never has seen the market, but was a prototype, okay? So, and then This MIDI one is what you can buy now. So compare the size, is like we put the PCB that's in here even smaller inside the connector, inside the 5-pole DIN, what is it, connector. Mm-hmm. So inside this thing is the MIDI interface. And yeah, now we have even this kind of flat, small things. So we are getting small as can be. And then you would have that option as well. Can put a MIDI pedal like that. They have double pedals as well to get any of these special functions there. Yeah. So before we go into other pedals, I found a very interesting pedal, which I show you here on the market. And we just plugged it in the moment when we started our live stream. It's the TC whatever.
The TC Electronic Impulse IR Loader.
Yeah. Where's the camera? This one? Okay. And this pedal here, I bought it because it's so small, and I think I liked it. I simply looked, I saw it, and I thought, you know what? I buy it. I have a company. I need to know what's going on.
It's research.
Yeah, let's call it research, you know.
Just doing your job.
I do my job. It's a good excuse to buy pedals.
That's what I always say, yeah. It's research.
Yeah, and I can write it off taxes with the company. Mm-hmm. And it comes with the Celestion impulse responses.
Yeah, it does.
So
20 of them are built into it, and you can add up to 99 of your own in it.
So super. What else do you want? I like the product already.
And so who would use this and in what setting?
If you want to use it with an amp1, you can. So now you could use it with your Iridium on the recording out, switch off the internal recording out. And now I would like to compare this. We need power. But can you power it up?
Yep. Question from Renee, by the way, which I think is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Do you wear Italian stiletto shoes on a live gig, switching those mini pedals? Legitimate question. He says he has his normal size pedals already wider, spaced apart from each other, even for playing at home sitting on a chair, because of course you can press more than one pedal at the same time with one normal foot.
Yeah. That's a good question. The spacing of foot switches in general is something I have to think about. AMP1 and AMP-X and any product I've ever done is like, of course, we can put them like that. And the Italian shoes are still kind of nice and elegant. But the moment when you are into this, I don't know what if the genre wears this kind of shoe, but you know, the real heavy army style shoes for the mud. Maybe some metal guys have to wear shoes like that.
Yeah, that's an industrial metal, like a Rammstein
kind
shoe,
of,
isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they can't use mini pedals on gigs, I guess.
Well, they have to space them out.
Especially not the hot tone ones.
Yeah, well, they are designed in a way that you can, you can put them on the corner, and there's your switch. I try to squeeze as many pedals on the pedalboard because that was my aim here. But hey, if you need that more space for your foot, then you can have regular size pedals as well. And the weight difference is so, you know. Another thing, just while talking about it, is what I'm seeing here is like there are these connectors, like to go in between pedals. This one is something I bought, which is okay-ish. I bought cheaper ones and they all died because there's mechanical stress when you press the pedals, and it has to kind of, you know, this is kind of stiff, and if this is not good quality, they die. On the other hand, I did my own. and they are so sturdy. I don't think these will break. I think I can rather break my pedals. And what these are like angled switchcraft plugs. Switchcraft is what I'm using as a 5-way. It's the good American, really solid stuff. And you can kind of, as you can see, you can kind of screw them together. You just take off the covers and have one cable there, and this is my homemade one, and they last forever. So that I think they're even better than anything that I've seen so far. Or talking about patch cables, you have, George L. patch cable or some homemade patch cable that you can cut the right length. And then I'm honest, I also like the cheap flat patch cable, which I bought at Thomann, the Harley Benton cheaper ones. There's EBS and other companies. They are all coming from the same Chinese factory. It's just a different label on it. I can tell because when you look at the machinery, how the marks you can see from the machinery. You look there and say, okay, nice. So it's simply a different rebrand. And they're actually not that bad. At the beginning, I bought some cheap stuff like that, and I thought, maybe see if it lasts or if it sounds not so good. And they're okay. I'm impressed. They are actually okay. Somebody did something acceptable. I'm not saying it's the best ones, but they work fine, and I like the fact they're super flexible and they take no space, like that. That's clever, good design. And they come in several lengths. They have very short ones, they have longer ones, and they're cheap, and they simply work. So that's another thing. And while looking at this pedal board, there's the power supply. That's something important because this is a DC-DC coupler kind of thing, which means I separate each of the outputs from each other. So no ground loops, because having pedals can create a lot of hum and squeal and other things. And having a good power supply solution is critically important.
Yeah.
And one more hint, if you're not totally sure if your pedal is doing a good job or your power supply is doing a good job, get one of these, like what is this, a battery pack, power bank. Power bank is the name for this thing. It's a lithium accu battery. Yeah. And that works. Or sometimes I made myself just a clip from a real 9-volt battery block, and I have a clip with a plug to plug it into a pedal from the outside. That way you can always double check if the hum is coming from your power supply or from another place, because that's the thing about building pedal boards.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go. Nobels are watching.
Hey.
And Sandy said you've got to have a chat. So
yeah, we have to serious. Hey Sandy, greetings to Hamburg. Yeah, I see. Yeah, liebe Grüße aus Hamburg. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And a point from Battletrack as well, by the way. He says those Z and straight connectors, these mini ones here, are bad for pedals, especially with circuit board mounted jacks, because they'll break jacks and solder joints. I can imagine they would if you wobble them around a lot over repeated usages. Yeah.
So that the mechanical way how to make your pedal board is also important. Therefore, the short ones are pretty good too. There are certain. It also depends on what's the surface of your pedal board, if the whole thing moves or if the pedals are sturdy. I also have this kind of bike chains. Yeah,
these are pretty decent. These Warwick ones.
This is the Warwick ones. The cable is a bit more stiff, as you can see, but that's a short one. That's actually pretty good because these are mechanically kind of decoupled. So if one is plugged into your Nobels ODR-Mini, Sandy, Nobels ODR-Mini, good pedal. And you know the pedal is moving, then the next pedal is not going to be stressed because the cable kind of balances this out. Let's check
the TC Impulse IR loader.
Yeah, I lost everything. So here we are. That is a blue box. Can you switch to blue box? Just what we are listening to now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's the blue box. Mm-hmm. And now I switch off the blue box, which is which cable? Let me see. That is end of blue box, and now we listen. TC. Sounds good. Yeah. Blue box sounds a bit warmer, but hey, this depends on the IRs.
Yeah, this is literally just the first of the built-in standard ones.
Yeah.
So,
but it's a Greenback 12M, which is exactly what I'm also having. But anyway, but just to let you know, there is a mini pedal that does that job. Okay. On the other hand, I had to use a proper DI box that is bigger than a standard pedal to get the same job done like from a blue box, because the blue box has the transformer already built in. And that's the problem if you have no isolation of the ground, which is not needed all the time, but it comes in very handy because there is the moment where somebody says there's some hum going on, and I had to use this as well. That's why this combination in the end is as big as a blue box or even bigger. But there are mini pedals that can do it, and maybe you'll find a mini DI box as well. Market. Sandy, mini DI box. Cool. So we had so many pedals here. Do we have any wishes on pedals or any questions at this point?
We have Julian Kaiba.
Oh yeah.
He's in the chat.
Hey,
he only uses Harley Benton for patch cables, cheap and good.
Yeah, see that's what I have here, and it's an industry product. And if you buy them from other companies, you get the same cable.
Yeah.
And they're probably also cheap and good.
Yeah. And another comment from David Matai, who said there is a newish Nobels ODR-1 that came out with a bass cut control. Because there's a lot of low ends in the original pedal, a lot of people say. Do you know that pedal? Are you familiar with the bass cut one? Or
no, but this is what I want. This is just, if this has a lot of bass, it's just the right amount for me. My ears tell me that's the one. And But of course, you know, everybody has a different situation with different pickups, and some people want extra control, and it's good to have options. I see some of your nice pedal. What about a Timmy, the micro Timmy?
Yep, this is the MXR mini version of the Timmy pedal, designed with Paul Cochran, who designed the original Timmy. So
I had an original Tim. What's the big one called?
that's the Tim, yeah.
That's the Tim.
With 2 switches and extra options.
Yeah. I had this on the Academy of Tone with, was it the Fender? Something with Fender sounds. I think it was Mick Woll. When I was at Mick Woll. Ah, yeah. Now I remember. Must have been 3-4 episodes ago. So, was it 99? I think it was 99. And we had, I borrowed a nice Fender amp for comparing, blah, blah, blah. And then my friend who had, I borrowed the amp from, he had the original Tim. And yeah, it is the most sought after pedal, and it costs a fortune.
Yeah, the price is now going up massively, yeah. But the MXR Timmy is more mass produced. I think it costs about 130, 140 euros, and it does that thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds very, very similar to the original.
Yeah. I will double check this one day with, shall we have a listen quick?
Yeah, let's do it quick. I have a Timmy as well, which I should have brought because we could have done a comparison, but we'll do another episode of this, I think.
Of course. Yeah. We have too many things.
Yeah, too many pedals on the board today.
Yeah. Any specific questions? Because we are running out of time because we talk too much, as usual.
Here's a good one from Hardy. Well, it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. While looking at the pedal board with all those mini pedals, he just thought, the Ampex is going to be the ultimate mini pedal board, isn't it?
It's so mini, you don't even see the pedals anymore. They disappear inside the housing. And the good thing about the Ampex is the pedals are not physical. Well, they are physical and not, but it will take some time and to get, a lot of pedals in there. And by the way, Sandy, we can make deals. We can make, if I would clone your Nobels, I can give you royalties if you want that. So because I like the pedal, I can have my attempt on the ODR Mini or on the ODR, and that's part of my business model with the Ampex to be able to kind of sell the pedals and give the companies that co-work with us money. So because somebody created that, I respect the intellectual property. Being a musician, they fucked us all with the streaming music, and I think when I do stuff like that with my products, and if I get something that is really inspired by something specific like that, I would like to collaborate with companies and say, let me do my version as something that you can buy for the Ampex, and the original company gets some money from it. And the whole thing only if they approve it and only if they like it and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so this is back to the Timmy. I need power, and here's some power. Wait a minute. Thump. Thump. Okay. It's your pedal. What's your setting? Not too much gain, more. More on the clean channel, right?
Yep. I tend to use it to just push the clean channel into breakup.
So that's bypass. Can you? That's already too much. much, I guess, right?
Yeah. Just a bit more of the good stuff.
Yeah, this is what I heard with the Tim as well. It's kind of a little bit more, and it's kind of a transparent overdrive or boost.
It's the kind of thing that you don't notice when it's on sometimes, and then you switch it off and you realize what it actually was doing before. If you know what I mean.
Like this light speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's another thing. You can get so neutral. It's kind of, you don't hear a difference, and then you can go from there and dial in what you want more, a little bit more grit, or a little bit more volume, or a little bit different frequencies.
Yeah, exactly.
This very subtle kind of overdrive.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of those. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is on the bench?
Yeah, just from my side, I have a very, very cheap Harley Benton 5-band EQ, which I think for a mini pedal is quite useful. This was €20.
Yeah. Well, I wonder sometimes how this can be manufactured for.
Yeah. How are they making money on that?
Yeah. Well, and that's the other side sometimes of pedal prices. I do understand if you create an original design like the Nobels or like, some boutique stuff, there is R&D, there's money, there's people with experience, they work on sound design and they share their knowledge, and that has a value. But some of the stuff is kind of way overpriced, in my opinion. Some of the pedals, it's more about the story than about the quality. And so the relation of price and value sometimes, I'm not happy. I mean, clones, how many, and of course Drew Bonamassa buys them all, because what shall he do with all his money?
Yeah.
I mean, you can burn it because it's inflation anyhow.
Yeah, and there's only so many 59 Les Pauls out there to buy at some point.
Yeah.
You'll have them all.
Yeah, and then who cares? I mean, for me, I don't know. I'm not into this game at all anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any? We have a
couple of other things. I had Ditto looper. I think everyone could have a looper on their board.
Yeah.
A mini one with one switch, super simple. It's great for practicing or just jamming or doing your own thing.
Same here. I have another one, a duet looper, undo, redo, what functions? Well, the TC is a classic.
Yeah, and they just released a newer version of the Ditto looper called the Ditto Plus, which is similar to this one. It has a screen and you can have 99 different memories and save loops.
Wow.
So if you've got a bunch of different things that you jam along with, you can do that.
I probably have to get one of those because I use an old Digitech looper, and sometimes I try to play something and it's the delay or the looper is simply not long enough. So it's like, fuck, I need another round, and it's old.
Yeah.
And now, memory costs nothing.
Yeah. And the other one I had from my board is a Mua. It's a clone of the Rat pedal, the Black Secret. What I like about mini drive pedals is that you can put a new flavor of gain onto pretty much any board in any space with a pedal like this. And you can swap them out. They're mostly pretty cheap. They're super practical. Yeah. And the Rat just sounds so good.
The Rat is the Rat. Yeah, it is.
The Rat is also, like the Nobels, it's its own thing.
Its own thing. But, I'm about organic stuff, and this Nobels is organic. Man, I know why the Nashville guys like it. Just can't get enough of these. Yeah, and then, there's a boost here, and there's an extra reverb, and we have phasers, and we have tuner. You cannot tune a fish or tune a
piano.
Tune a piano.
But you can tune a fish. That's the whole point. Yeah.
I had some good tuner the other day. I had a gig on Sunday night.
Oh yeah, with the buffet, right?
Yeah. Oh man, this was the best tuner ever. And then I found out it was not even tuna. They modified some salmon, and it tasted better than tuna. I had to go for the buffet twice. Anyway, side story.
Yeah, the guys are getting bored now. They've started commenting about the camera slider.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of the pedals. So
wait. We have another video for you guys to show.
Yes, one final point. We have a good friend over in the Netherlands called John from Sonic Drive Studio. Very cool YouTube channel.
Yeah, and he did a review on the Iridium first.
He did. That already has, I think, about 40,000 people have seen that. So very, very cool if you want to hear the Iridium in many contexts. But he did a recent video as well with a 9-string guitar.
Yeah, what I like about this guy is look at his video, at his amp collection. Is there any amp? there are more amps in his private possession than in a good music store.
Yep.
It's impressive. It's like a full wall of amps, more than Henning Pauli. Henning, go home. I'm talking about more amps.
Yeah.
And it's all good stuff. And what I was, of course, impressed is like he knows how to make everything sound great.
Yep.
And then he checked the Iridium, and I mean, he sounded. He knew what he was doing, and well, we are lucky he liked the amp as well. No, but it sounded really good, and he was super happy. And what did he do? This was the low, as low can you go?
Yeah,
guitars.
he's just done like a shootout of 6 different metal amps with a 9-string.
Yeah.
And the Iridium does, well, you won't believe the results, to use a clickbait title, so go and watch that. Maybe,
clickbait title.
yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll put a link down in the description there, or just search for Sonic Drive Studio.
Yeah.
Lee Fuge in the comments, hey Lee, he says, Rich, I'd love to see you rock a 9-string. No, you wouldn't.
If I have 9 strings, I mean, 7-string is as much as I can. I have one here, but this is like, and for anything else more, it's a different instrument. You can play a Hackbrett in German that has even more strings.
Yeah, there's something in my brain that just doesn't work when there's a string underneath, an extra one. It just it takes time. That's why I'd rather have a 6-string baritone if I was going to go down that low in tuning.
Yeah, and well, I'm not saying this. Every style is its own art, and every style needs its own instruments, and the evolution of the electric guitar from the old school thing that I love, and maybe you or some of you guys too, to the latest version of metal in a way how it's impressive what the guys are doing, but we have to be honest. We live on this side of the moon and they live in another universe, and it takes some time to get it. Even for me, it took some time. And some of the stuff I like, and some of the stuff is not my cup of tea. But this is a matter of taste.
Yep, exactly. And we get to hear a lot more of that at the NAMM show, because we're going to be pretty much opposite Tosin Abasi's booth. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, if you don't know who Tosin Abasi is, he's the guy who plays like slap on a 8-string at least, I think.
8 or 9, maybe.
8. Yeah. I think he's an 8-string player. Impressive. It's like a totally different concept. It's a totally different instrument, and it's art. And the guy is actually nice. I met him when he checked out also the Iridium. Super nice, sweet guy. Respect, but he lives in a different universe. But well, we have our 2 worlds, and see what we end up after them. You know, you never know. So that's a good thing. I think we watched that little video, and we can already say bye-bye, because time is running out.
Yep.
Where's my mobile?
Late. Yep. 10:35 our time. Mm-hmm. Time for us to go to bed.
Yeah. Somebody has to drive.
Not together. I'm driving home, obviously. So yeah. Nobels say let's talk. So you can finish this and then have a chat with Sandy. And
Sandy, yeah.
All is good there.
I have to take one. Sandy used to be, I know him for 20, 30 years. He used to be a salesman at number 1 music store, where we just have seen the video. So, you know, this is how small that world is. And Sandy has always been a knowledgeable guy, super nice, positive energy. You know, this is kind of the guys that you like to meet. And wherever we meet, we have a smile on our face because we know everything is cool, you know? This is why I love this industry, and this is why he is still in the industry and why I'm still in the industry. And this is why we have a chat tomorrow or after Easter, but very soon. Cool.
Yep. And a perfect final comment from Stratocaster. 6 strings is enough, 5 for Keith, 4 for bass. That'll do.
Yeah, that's the other direction.
Yeah.
And guess what, Keith? There's nothing wrong about Keith. He made more money than all of us together, probably.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. With iconic riffs, what else do you need? And then 5 strings, and then tune your guitar to whatever, G. And that's it. Respect. Yeah. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure again. And yeah, now you can watch some 9 strings. In case you have never seen it, stay tuned for that one. And by the way, next week I have Uli Brodersen. Uli is great story. Uli is playing an iridium, but he is kind of a fusion funk jazz guy that came and told me like the best clean tone ever. Well, the jazz guys are about clean tones, I learned. And so he fell in love with this because it's faster than any other amp. Well, when I was thinking about amp 1, I wanted to make it fast for metal players, but I didn't think about fusion and I didn't think about jazz in particular. So Uli discovered the amp 1, Iridium, and said, that's my amp, unbelievable. And then he came with his pedal board and with all his boutique pedals that he put on the clean channel, as these kind of people always do. They have a clean tone because they grew up with Fenders and polytones and whatnot. And then they have pedals. And he brought all his pedals and said, sounds good. Soldano style sounds and, you know, kind of Mesa Boogie style sounds. And then he said, I want to minimize my rig. And I said, hey, I give it a try. I used the remote and I used the low gain mode and I modified all the channels on the Iridium for him. So we listened A/B to his pedals and to the Iridium. And I said, okay, try it out. See you next time. And then after a week he called, I'm not using any of the pedals anymore. He just used the low gain mode with my customized settings for him based on the pedals that he showed me the tones of, you know, what he liked. And so he's coming next week. And we have also great stories to tell because we found out that we were visiting the same guitar teacher in our teenage years. Me for like 3 hours, and then I ended up in a big fight and said, jazz sucks, because this was the jazz teacher in Saarbrücken. Great player, but I was a teenager and I was Pete Townshend style rebellion, and I was playing a Stratocaster that didn't make any sense for jazz, so we had a conflict. You know, it was okay to have a Strat in the jazz lesson for 1 hour. In the second one, I could see already his face, and in the third, he said, "You should buy a proper guitar." And then I asked about Pat Metheny. Can you show me something? That Pat Metheny, der Karel Gott des Jazz, like the worst guy ever. And I said, I like his music. So I said, fuck you, quit. So anyway, and Uli played the jazz, so he stayed there, so he actually can play that stuff. And now finally he's, of course, went his own way and developed his style, but he knows that school that I missed out. This was my bad teacher experience, so the rest of it was self-taught. I had no other teacher anymore. This was, teacher, leave me alone. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, so next week you get the full story with Uli. You'll see what happens.
Yeah.
How Thomas would have turned out if he'd continued with his jazz guitar education. So stick around
Autumn
for that.
leaves.
Yep.
Okay, anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're still here, subscribe to the channel and please like the video, give us a thumbs up. It always helps.
Yep.
And yeah, stick around for 2 minutes of 9-string action with the Iridium.
Yeah, and see you guys next week. Cheers.
It's truly impressive how great that little amplifier sounds, especially with the guitar that's so demanding when it comes to tone and response. Now, it's an amplifier that I'm pretty excited about, and I also did a full in-depth review and demo on the channel very recently, which you can watch up here or down here as well if you're interested.